What's up, travelers? You have found the podcast that is here to explore the world. We are 5 travel experts hooked on our trade and ready to share our tales from around the world. You're listening to the Where We Roam podcast. Without further ado, let's roam. Hello, roamers. My name is John, and welcome to the Where We Roam podcast. I am joined by 3 of my fellow podcasters. Corinne is out for this episode. We miss you. Can't wait till you get back, Corinne. Everybody else, how's it going?
Hi, John.
Doing-
That's good.
Doing real good, John.
It's so nice to see you all.
How are you? Hey,
like,
how are you?
how am
Right.
I?
Yeah,
I'm good, man.
Nobody,
I'm good. I just
never-
got back from vacation, so I'm good.
Yeah, I would assume, but nobody flips that around. So I thought I might today, right?
Well, thanks. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
You're
I'll say
welcome.
that. I'm doing well. So, actually, today we're going to be doing a quick chat about doing a resort overview of a resort that I just experienced. So, as you 3 know, and some of our listeners know, I am originally from Southern California. I have a lot of family there. So whenever we go to California, it's almost inevitably either we're going to go do a couple days at Disney and then spend the rest of the time with family, or do a couple days, doing this, then family. This trip, we did go see family, but we also did kind of did touristy things for once. Like we went to a Dodger game, and we went and explored Pasadena, and we, explored Los Angeles to show the kids. Went to Griffith Observatory, and I had those beautiful views from the observatory up there that's super famous, and a ton of movies, and it was a lot of fun. And then after we were done spending time with family and doing the family thing, we took 3 days, just the 4 of us, our family of 4, and we went down to the Hotel Del Coronado in San Diego and had a magical 3 days at this beautiful beach resort.
Yeah.
Sounds
What would-
relaxing
John,
at the end.
Real quick, 3 days.
3 days.
Is 3 days a perfect amount of time here? What did you think
I would
based
say
on
3 to 4 nights. So
Okay.
probably we scheduled as much as we could to be there because we really wanted to spend some family time, our quality family time with the extended family, with my grandmother, my kid's great grandmother, and do that. So I would say you could easily do 3 or 4 nights. I had clients that were there at the same time I was,
Okay.
and I think I want to say they did 5 nights. So I think they did 5 or 6 nights, and there's so much to do in San Diego and in the area, and we can talk about that in a few minutes.
Coronado's beautiful.
Yes, and
Just
for those
the-
who don't,
yeah.
for those who don't know, Coronado is an island that is like kind of a barrier island on the other side of San Diego's harbor, and it kind of on the very northern part of the island there is a naval base. That's the naval, it's naval base.
It's Navy.
That's there, and then to the southern part is like this resort town with hotels and shops and restaurants. It's just absolutely adorable in every sense of the word. And then there is this historic, beautiful hotel that all of our Disney fans, if they saw any of my pictures, probably thought, "Hey, John's at the Grand Floridian at Walt Disney World." But in fact, I was at the Hotel Del in San Diego because this historic hotel is actually the inspiration for the design of the Grand Floridian, and you can definitely see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The pictures you would be confused if you they look so similar.
Right? It's kind of crazy.
Appearance. Yeah, it's very crazy. Yeah. I think
what
I
all
think
is
I
a-
forgot that you were in San Diego at that point in time, and you sent me a photo, the first photos you said, and I was like, "Oh, that's Grand Flow there."
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, not quite. But yeah, but the thing is that this hotel was originally opened in 1888.
Wow.
So
Which is
this
crazy.
thing has so much history, and it has been, oh my goodness, I want to say like it's currently it's currently managed by Hilton, but it's gone through different management companies through the years. It's owned by like the Blackstone Group, which is, an investment company that, holds, real estate all around the world. But it's Marriott, or it's a Hilton property now. It's technically a Curio collection, which is kind of like their independent higher end brands. I would classify this hotel in its current state like a 4.5 star. It's not quite 5 star yet, but it is definitely knocking on the door. And I think once they're done with the renovations, it'll be there.
Okay.
Nice. So what is around that area, like in the immediate area? If you flew in and Ubered over there and you didn't have a car,
Yeah.
is there a lot around the
Yeah,
resort
there's a
itself?
ton. There's a ton as far as like restaurants and stuff. The island is very walkable to like all the different restaurants. There's parks. There's so much to do around there just on the island. Now, that being said, you are on the island and you are not back at like mainland San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So in San Diego, you're going to have things like the San Diego Zoo. You're going to have the USS Midway Museum. You're going to have go to a Padres game there downtown San Diego at Petco Park. Like there's a Comic-Con museum that's there. Comic-Con started there in San Diego. And that's kind of like they have a big museum dedicated to, comic books and all that stuff. So there's a ton to do in San Diego. I will say out on the island, it is going to be beach. It's going to be your regular beach activities, restaurants, really good restaurants, parks, biking, activities like that, sailing, stuff along those
everything
lines.
is walkable right there around Coronado. But if you're trying to get into San Diego, you need a vehicle.
Yeah, vehicle, or you can Uber back and forth. It's
Right.
like a 15-minute Uber ride over the bridge. It's because there's like a massive bridge you have to go over. And when I say massive, it's massive.
Right into San Diego airport there if you're flying in.
So we flew in, and we were obviously doing like tour to Southern California, and so we rented a car. I will say this: San Diego's a nice airport to get in and out of. I don't love their rental car situation there. It's like an 8 to 10 minute bus ride. That you wait for a bus, then you ride 8 to 10 minutes off property from the airport to get to the rental center. It doesn't sound bad, but like when you're getting in at 11 o'clock at night and you just want to get to your car,
you want convenience,
right?
Yeah. So, but it was great.
Why don't you tell us a little bit, John, about?
It's phenomenal. There's so much to do.
Good. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your room type and where you stayed and kind of a little bit of the lay of the land?
Yeah, so this hotel is massive now. They have added so many new sections, and since I was there last, I want to say in 20 is the last time I was there. They have maybe 2018. They have like changed so much. So there's the historic Victorian building that you see in all the pictures, right? That is the Grand Flow is modeled after. That building, as of today, the Victorian building is being completely gutted. They're completely redoing the exteriors, interiors, new doors, new windows, everything as far as the rooms. Now, like restaurants, the main lobby, all of that is still open, but the rooms are currently closed, getting a complete like renovation. And that renovation is kind of like the capstone to the rejuvenation of the property. Everything else has been redone. So in the past 5 years, they've now developed it where there's 5 different villages or sections. We talk about the villages at Beaches, Turks and Caicos. Very similar, with the exception at Beaches, Turks and Caicos, you can go anywhere on property, wherever you're staying. This is definitely, they've created exclusive areas for people staying in different sections of the hotel. So you have the Victorian building, which right now we do not know once those are redone, what the inclusions will be there and what they'll have access to. But that's currently being redone. Then you have the cabanas, and the cabanas are kind of like this building that sit along where the pool is, the main cabana pool. And then you have the views, and the views is like an old, I want to say it was like an apartment building or something, or condos that they converted into hotel rooms, and they bought it and converted it, very similar to something that Beaches would have done, right? And those are the closest to the ocean out of any of the hotel rooms. Then you have the Shore House, which is a brand new build that they just opened, I think in 21 or 22. And the Shore House also has like a real estate component. So it also has like a timeshare where you can buy into the shore side. Those are going to be more of like villas over there. And then you have the Beach Village, which is on the opposite side. And those are like little villas that they built along the water line there. And those are gorgeous, and they have their own pool. So the Shore House and the Beach Village have their own houses, and they kind of have an elevated experience. Now,
is it all really walkable? Is it similar
Steffi
in size?
Oh, it's similar in size. It's all super walkable. You can get from one side to
Okay.
the other in like 5 to 7 minutes, you
Mm.
know. Um, as far as where we stayed in the views, but
Okay.
we stayed in a views room that had access to their Ocean Concierge Club, which is
Okay.
kind
Of
of
course you
like
did.
well, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
John,
Well, it
John's
costs a little
bougie.
more to go first class, John.
yeah, that's true. And
It's not true. It's never been true.
in this case, it did cost just a little bit more to do this, and we really
See?
appreciated the inclusions here because the inclusions were kind of crazy. So I would probably compare the Ocean Concierge Club option. So anybody can add it to a room, right? You can add it.
Okay.
It's $150 per day per adult, or $75 per day per child. So for a family of 4, it'd be $450 extra dollars per day. Ours
Mhm.
was included in the price of the room.
When you're
So
in the
Okay.
views.
when not all of the views, it's just a handful of rooms are
specific.
available with
Okay.
it.
Okay.
And when
Okay.
when you book it, and you can talk to an agent, or you can, if you're booking directly through the Hilton site, it'll say Ocean Concierge room,
Gotcha.
after
Okay.
the views. So we had a gorgeous view, by the way, go figure. But essentially what's included with this, it reminds me a lot of the inclusions if you're doing club level at a Ritz-Carlton.
Hmm.
So every day is a full breakfast buffet, bottomless mimosas. Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have so it's the full buffet, and they do hot items that are complimentary as well. So you can order French toast. You can order what I got one day is my favorite. Oh gosh, why can't I think about it? It's eggs, hollandaise sauce. What am I
Eggs
thinking?
Eggs
Benedict.
Benedict.
Eggs Benedict. Thank you so
Delicious.
much. They have a couple different eggs Benedict option. One with the smoked salmon, one with the traditional. It was really,
Mhm.
really good.
Hmm.
And then there's a lunch buffet that's offered every day. And on their website, it says a light lunch buffet. Guys, there was sirloin steak,
Oh my.
clam
wow.
linguine, and like really, really hearty food. It was not light. It was
It's
like,
not
I
light.
mean,
No.
there was steak. One day it was like this delicious shrimp, like a sauteed shrimp, and other pastas and salads. And it was not like
Sounds
It's not
wonderful.
beach
It was very
food.
good.
It's not like beach light buffet.
Right. No. I mean, it was all
Linguine.
seafood. It was a lot of seafood, but it was really good. There's afternoon snack presentation as well after the lunch hours. And then dinner, you have access to this. Basically becomes like a signature dining experience. So
Okay.
while the dinner is a la carte, is for at an extra cost, you do have access to that, which the rest of the guests do not. During the
nice.
day, you get access to the beach club, which is like a lounge chair area. Now, unfortunately, that was closed when we were there. So what they do is they do include 4 chairs for your family to go when you're at the regular beach in the beach service area at completely complimentary, which would normally be an
nice.
added cost. But during
Yeah.
Memorial Day through October, the warmer months, they do have access to the private beach club as well.
Wow. I'm looking at all
and-
these inclusions here for that
Yeah.
club, and I think that was the right call.
Yeah, what?
Mhm.
I
I
mean, we had included the roast experience, which is like roasting marshmallows and s'mores on the beach. It includes all your
So
stuff
fun for
there.
the kids.
And the
Yep.
concierge comes around every morning, asks how you are, if you need any help planning your day. It was really, really well done, honestly. I would totally
even the
100% do
food.
the Ocean Concierge again. Yeah,
So
the food,
when
the
you say
food,
the
the drinks,
150,
it was so good.
yeah, that's all included. So it's 150 per adult
Per adult,
per
and then
day.
75 for the kids per day.
Per day.
So
Okay, per day.
it would be so it's $450 per day if you're adding it on. So it is a chunk. But if you're hanging out during resort days, you can
Yeah.
Just
really
include
take
that with your
advantage
room,
of it.
though. I mean,
Yeah.
surely
Yeah,
the
you lump it
room
into your
price. That's probably why you had a nicer room as well, as you had that included. So they're
Right.
incentivizing the room style, and you get this.
Right.
Yeah,
Makes
you
sense.
just got to think,
And when
am
you
I going to
think
eat
about it, too.
$150 worth of food and drink?
Unlimited mimosas in the morning
Yeah.
laying at the beach.
I mean, and it's high. I mean, you think about it. This is definitely like 4 to 5-star resort pricing for food as
Right.
well.
Oh, yeah.
So you're
Oh, it's
spending
no-brainer.
$20 on a cocktail.
Yeah.
$11 on a Miller
Yeah.
Lite in a
Right.
can. So just be thinking about that when you're thinking about how that works. Oh, and there's the
Yeah.
daily signature cocktail at lunch,
Oh, yeah.
which
See,
was
no
so good.
brainer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really
Easy
really
choice.
good. So room types, there are so many different room types. From the regular rooms that are, and all of them have been completely renovated in the last couple of years. But from the regular ocean, you have in the views building, you have views of like just resort views. You have ocean view, ocean front. Then you also have ocean in the views building. You have ocean front walkouts that have fire pits. In the cabanas, you also have fire pits. They're just not ocean front in the cabana building. And then in the shore house buildings, they have porches that have like the built-in gas fireplaces built into the wall.
The beachside terrace with fire pit.
Yes,
That looks legit.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
Nice.
I mean, it's really cool. So I will say this, and like, so a lot of their higher end rooms have these fire pits or built-in fireplaces. A lot of the villas in the beach village have them as well, and that's because the weather in San Diego, even in the summertime, you're only going to get highs in the 70s, and if you ever get, maybe a couple, like 60 to 70 degrees year round, sort of situation. When we were
Cold.
there, the highs were in the 60s. So
Yeah.
Fantastic.
at night, it felt really nice with the fire pits.
Yeah. I'd be freezing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
John,
no,
looking at these,
it is cold.
Looking at these rooms, the ones that are being renovated, do you know, are they taking carpets out? Or
In which, so our rooms had carpet, high-end carpet, super, super nice.
Okay.
So I don't think they're
Okay.
going to put in hardwood floors. It is definitely a high-end, like luxury carpet feel in there, as opposed to doing the Disney high traffic,
Low
linoleum
pile.
floors.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but
Was
super
there any
nice.
construction noise at all?
And I'm really looking forward to seeing. We had none where we were at.
Good.
We didn't hear anything at all. And one thing I would say is that the sound insulation in the rooms were great. We couldn't hear our neighbors, nothing.
Nice.
When we
Perfect.
were down, there's one restaurant that's being renovated, and then there's another restaurant that's open, but underneath the construction. When you're there, you can definitely hear the construction during the day when you're outside. But I mean, you're outside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, but
You hear things outside.
yeah. But in your rooms, we never had any
Happens.
issues with construction.
That's
Okay.
good.
Nice.
So let's talk about the things that you did while you were there. Like how much on property and then how much off property did you guys do?
So leading up to this trip, we went. We were going.
Yeah. Okay.
That
Plays into your stay, I'm sure.
We put on our rental car, I think when we got it, had like 1,100 or 1,200 miles. I think we gave it back with like 1,900, something like that. So we put a ton, like we drove back and forth from like, this area all the way out to LA and then back and then down around. And we were in the car a lot the first half of the trip, visiting family and doing things. We were talking about going to the USS Midway Museum.
Mm-hmm.
We opted not to because the boys just wanted to lay around,
Yeah.
which ended up working out great. Our last day was phenomenal, just laying on the beach, people bringing us drinks, playing cornhole. It was great.
Sounds perfect.
But there's a ton to do offsite, but we just really maximized our time on the resort too. That was kind of the idea of what we wanted to do. But we did, like I said, we roasted marshmallows, we spent time in the pool, we were laying by the beach, we played games. There's a really cool, we didn't get to do it, but my clients who were there did it. There's a brand new restaurant called The Laundry, and it has like all of it. So it's like TVs, kind of like a pub that they just opened. But in addition to just like pub food and TVs, they also have like old like retro video games and like indoor shuffleboard and what do you call the thing with little soccer players? My brain's not working.
Foosball.
Something
You're
ball.
talking about, oh my gosh.
Foosball.
Foosball.
That's it.
Skee ball, and all of that is completely free inside this restaurant. So it's like go hang out, get pub food, and watch your kids have a good time.
Yeah.
Just relax. So there's a lot to do on site, and we try to take advantage of as many of the things on site as possible. But in addition to what we did, there were fitness classes every day. There's like a beach spin class. They wheel out the spin bikes out onto the beach.
That's fun.
There's like yoga classes happening every day. And so there's stuff happening, all around. We walked all the way down to oh goodness, all the way down to the end of the beach, all the way up to the north side, right along the edge of the naval base. There's like a giant netting fence that blocks people from walking on the
Was
beach
there
over there.
a carrier in there?
So the carrier was on the back side of the island, but there's a carrier in there right now.
There was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife brought us there because she had come and gone from San Diego so often. So she wanted to show us. And that's when we did our Disneyland trip. My first Disneyland trip, we started it in Coronado. So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, oftentimes a carrier in there.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot
cool.
of sense too. But it's good. One thing we wanted to do, but we didn't get to do because there's a red flag every day, is Jack really wanted to take surfing lessons. But it was red flags every day. So it's kind of a bummer for him. But they do have surf lessons there on site. One of the things I love is there's like a boardwalk along the front of the beach that, anybody can be walking through. And it's a perfect place to watch sunsets. But there's like all these little food trucks that they have set up. And some of them are like beer places, or some of them are cocktail places, or one of them's like you can go rent bikes from. Another one you can sign up for surf lessons. It's like they've really integrated, these little trucks and experiences along the boardwalk. It makes it feel kind of quaint and homey at a massive upscale resort. It's really kind of really well done. I'll just say that.
So with you essentially had food on property with your club access.
Yes.
Did you get off property at all for any of the other dining
we did
in
one
Coronado?
other. We did one other restaurant, and that was the one that's kind of across the street, and that's another historic restaurant. It's over on the harbor side, or like kind of like the Coronado Harbor, or yacht club, whatever that is. Yeah. And it was called Blue something Boathouse. I can't remember. I think Bluefish Boathouse or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really good. I had a delicious smoked old fashioned. We watched the women's Final Four game in there. Steffi had ordered this really good seafood. What do you call it? Like a seafood? It was almost like a seafood stew, like a bouillabaisse, like a French. It was like a bouillabaisse, like I think it's what it was called. And she really, really liked it. It was delicious. Yeah. And then I had ordered a salad with seared ahi tuna. It was like a Mediterranean vibe. Hindsight, I probably wouldn't get that again, only because I would have probably preferred if it had like an Asian dressing. But Steffi like ate it up. Like she finished the salad after I ate all the ahi tuna, because she loves like a Greek salad, and for a Greek salad, it was really, really good.
Yeah,
nice.
My wife is texting me from the other room because she knows we're talking about Coronado and this specific hotel. She's like, "Get the margaritas if you go there, but also get it in the pitcher because they're delicious, but they're expensive if you do it by the glass."
The pitcher is also
Insider
expensive.
Tip.
Insider
probably
tip though,
less.
A pitcher is
per glass.
I don't know, because it's $88 for a pitcher of margaritas.
That's steep.
So we're talking about people getting off of an aircraft carrier who haven't had alcohol for a very long time, and they're willing to pay those prices.
It's probably got a whole bottle of tequila in there. It's got a whole bottle of tequila in there. Yeah,
I will say this: I did drink one of their margaritas. It was delicious. I really liked. They had their beach drinks were really good too. And then the daily cocktails they had at the Windsor Cottage, which is where the club is the Ocean Club is. Their daily cocktails were really good.
Awesome.
Love that.
I took some pretty pictures of them. I'll post as well.
You said they do surf lessons, and I know they're like notoriously. Yeah, I mean, like notoriously that area is like totally is a surfer's dream out there. But how was it when you were there this time of year? Is it all year round? Okay.
Yeah, but I will say this: the water was cold. All the surfers that were out in the water, like locals,
wetsuits.
They were all in a full body wetsuit. So in order to get around that in the Pacific, you're going to have to be like after Memorial Day through September.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know.
Because that's when it's warm enough to just be in the water. West Coast is cold, like the water.
Yeah. Especially with kids. If kids are really getting into surfing, you want the water to be a little warmer for them.
Right.
Yeah. One insider tip on Coronado in general.
Yes.
When we were there's a taco restaurant called Serrano's. Amazing. Some of the absolute best tacos that I've had. Imagine that coming from California. I know no one expected good tacos in California.
No one knew that was coming.
I'm sure.
Never.
No one knew it was coming. Serrano's. It's
very good.
Serrano's.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, that's the best thing about San Diego is they have the best tacos, I think, in the country in San Diego. So if you don't get tacos when you're in San Diego, then shame on you.
Yeah, agree.
So anyway, so we've talked about restaurants. We talked a little bit about restaurants. There are a ton of restaurants on property. We talked a little bit about the Laundry Pub. There's a really cool bar that opens up. It's like they call it the Babcock and Story Bar. And it's like this, like it's on the, you know how there's that giant round turret where, you know, like the front of the hotel or the backside of the hotel, really, you see in all the pictures. The ground floor of that is half of it is a giant bar that's kind of like in the round. And it has like this beautiful, like hand carved, like dark wood bar with like the frosted glass and all that. I
see a picture of it right now.
Yeah.
Green glass on the windows.
Yeah, it's so pretty. I'm not sure about green glass or not because they slide it all open, so it becomes open air during the day. It's absolutely breathtaking.
Oh, how nice!
But like behind the bar, it's all like mirrors. But then like when it's time for the game to watch the Final Four or whatever of the game, there's a TV that lights up behind it, kind of like, there's sometimes TVs behind mirrors and they use that effect. So when there's when it's during the day, it just looks like a really like beautiful old historic bar. But then if there's a game they're going to put on, they just kind of just shows up behind the bar. It's really cool. Like
wow, that's
the mirrors.
cool.
What was that place called? Is that the Laundry Pub or
no? Laundry Pub is the pub. No, it's this Babcock and Story Bar. It's kind of like their traditional, like they call it sophisticated cocktails in small plates. And there's live music there. We did get a pizza from Eno Market and Pizzeria. That was really good. Jack got a pizza there. And then, so there's a place called Sundays and they have delicious gelato. We really, really enjoyed that. I've eaten in the past at a place called Sun Deck, which is along the pool. That's currently under renovations. So they've opened up a new place called On the Rocks, which is kind of in its place. It's like out on the boardwalk area along the beachfront. Super beautiful.
How were the pools on property?
So there's only one pool that we had access to because we weren't staying in the shore house or the beach villas. Each of them have their own gated pool. And then there's the main pool, which is where we were, which is the cabana pool. And it was great. But it's a big pool. There's a hot tub, but the hot tub was hot. I'm used to Disney hot tubs that are kind of like warm tubs.
Tame.
Like we had to get out. It was so hot after a few minutes. So it was really, really warm. It was cooking us. And then, but one thing I'll say is that everything is under lock and key. Do you know what I'm saying? In order to get into any pool, you need to tap in. Everywhere you go, you tap in. And when we went into the club,
accessible to the surrounding areas.
Yeah. They do have a local sneaking in problem.
Oh, I bet.
If that makes sense.
I mean, I can see that.
I bet there's some Navy people doing that.
I'm sure.
Don't tell on them.
Well, I will say this, that when we were there,
they know.
When we were leaving the pool, there were some kids trying to sneak into the pool, and I shut the door with my foot behind me to the pool. Stephanie goes, "John, you're so mean." And I go, "Well, you know." But apparently my client who was there, I know, my client who was there at the same time we were, said they were talking to somebody in the hot tub one day, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're locals. We just come up here. What's wrong with that?" And he's sitting there thinking to himself, "Well, I just paid like $700 a night for this place to use these facilities.
Do they do any sort of day pass?"
Not that I know of, not to the general public.
Oh.
Okay. So now we were given a day pass on our checkout date because our key card stopped working at 2 and we had a late flight. So, but that was just as like you're still here because,
That's an extension of your
our
trip.
guest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're happy to extend that to you as well. So
that's good. It's good to know.
It was super, super fun though. And we had a fantastic time. Now I will say when you're staying here, this is one of those resorts. If you're an all-inclusive type person that you're used to going places and everything being included, this is like I said, you're gonna have the $88 pitcher of margaritas. You're gonna have, meals, or you could easily spend on a nice dinner out there $200 for a family of 4. It's that sort of resort pricing. The biggest shock might be that valet parking is $75 per day.
I saw that. What in the world?
I don't know. And then like the public or the park yourself is like, they're like, I'm like, okay, I don't mind doing that. And I'm like, where's that at? And they're like, well, you're gonna have to go back on the main street and then go around the property and go underground. I'm like, just take
my goodness.
Well, what's the nightly
parking?
What's the nightly parking if you don't valet?
$55. So it's only $20 more to avoid that.
I mean, it only costs a little more to go first class, John.
There it is. So, but yeah, and as I just want to point out,
you're too much.
I did mention my smoked old fashioned while I was there.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
We all heard it.
Where to get that? Mm-hmm.
I think Dana's father's drinking right now.
I think I probably had
time to take a drink.
At least 3 or 4 old fashions while I was there. Every night I had one. So
yeah, hey,
and everyone was
sounded
delicious.
best. John, you made a joke one time that your father jokes that we talk about an old fashioned every time, and he takes a drink, right?
My in-laws do.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was one episode we didn't talk about it, so they pointed it out. Yeah. So we have to make sure we share every time.
Of course.
Every time.
Of course.
What were you going to ask, Megan?
So typically as we wrap up, we always talk about exactly who this resort is for. Clearly, it's not necessarily for any of our value clients because it is a little bit on the higher end side. Why don't you give us a general sense of who you think this resort fits best for?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely a higher end resort. There's definitely going to be a barrier to entry with pricing. Are there going to be off season? Could you get in for maybe a couple $100 a night on a special promotion? Yes. But then factor in $75 for valet, factor in $11 Miller lights, just factor those things in. Now, could you go to the grocery store, on the island and pick up your own beer, put it in your fridge and do that to save money? 100%. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
But it is not a value resort. I would say this resort is solid 4.5 star, in my opinion. And I think it'll be at that 5 star when they're done with the construction, because there is still some hiccups. Now, I do want to point out that the service was phenomenal. They really leveraged technology well with the service.
Okay.
When you check in, you get welcome text, and they say, if you ever have any questions, text us back here, and either in the front desk will respond, or if it's a request for concierge, we'll have them respond every single time. Quick, all done. They would be able to make reservations for us on the beach. They would be able to, they offered to make my reservations for me if we're going to go to the museum. They booked our dining reservation for off-site, all through just a quick text message. And it was super convenient. So I think that's really well done. So I think this is great for a family. This would be great for a romantic couples getaway, because you really can't. I would say that all the kids that we saw there were, in general, really well behaved. Especially the kids in the Ocean
Club.
Ocean Club. Thank you. That being said, the Ocean Concierge Club is right next to the big great lawn. And my kids, after we ordered and they're waiting for their food, they would go out and play with the other kids out on the lawn. And it's like you're sitting there in the club,
benefit,
ocean views, the backdrop of the historic, hotel, and your kids are on the great lawn, and you're sipping on your cocktail, waiting for your meal to come. Your meal comes, you wave your kids over. So I think families, a romantic getaway, a multi-gen family. I think it's a perfect resort.
We mentioned this before we started recording. Doing this as an add-on stay to a Disneyland, like 3 days at Disneyland, where it's a little bit more fast-paced, and then you end your trip driving 2 hours down to Coronado from Anaheim, wrap up your trip at Hotel Del Coronado. That's perfect. That'd be perfect.
Get off your feet.
I think that's a great idea, honestly. Like So like when we do Southern California, say we're going to do Disney, we're going to do Disney first and then visit family. This was perfect for after visiting family and doing those things. It was a great disconnect for us just to be together, the 4 of us, and really just, reconnect. And if you're looking for a trip to reconnect, it's great. I honestly loved it. And when you're in Southern California, there's so much to do. Whether you're a sports fan or on a romantic vacation, whatever you want it to be, it's a great resort.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I was gonna say we always talk about like the X factor or like the what makes it stand apart, like what is what really kind of makes it stand apart. I would say the service, attention to detail, and the historic aspect of it. It's very cool. And apparently one of the rooms is haunted in the Victorian building.
Sweet.
It's a whole thing, but I wasn't in that building.
If you have a haunted hotel, you do talk that up a bit.
Sure.
I mean,
they do.
It's a selling point, right?
Yeah.
I think
For some.
But anyway, for some.
Not me.
But anyway, I highly recommend it. Next time you all are down there, book a couple nights. It's really easy. And cool part about this, if you book, you can also earn points or redeem points if you're going to go that way. But also, any of us would be happy to help you plan this, navigate that trip to Southern California. We could always add this on, like Sean said, to your package. If you're over at Disneyland, we'd be happy to add a trip down, help you get a car, and then get down to Coronado for the weekend. It's great.
Yep.
So on that note, I'm going to wrap up the episode. It's weird because you guys are asking me questions, but then I have to like close as well. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap. On that note, I'm going to wrap it up, right? There you go. That's weird. I'm like talking to myself. So on that note, we're going to wrap up this episode. If you have your thoughts or would like to share your thoughts on Hotel Del Coronado or anything else that we've talked about on this episode or others, you can join our conversation over on Facebook by doing a search for the Where We Roam podcast in your Facebook app. Additionally, if you've enjoyed the show and would like to help support the show, a like and subscribe, a 5-star review, however you find the podcast, we'd really appreciate your support so other people with similar interests can find the show in the future. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.